Servus Freunde, my name's Jimmy Cage.
Jimmy, I've realized that you just don't like me.
What? I love the Buddymeister. He's the best.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the Buddymeister. I'm talking about the man behind the Buddymeister. The man behind the mask. The real me.
What does that even mean?
Scheiße. Oh Gott, nehmen wir das. Fertig.
Servus Freunde, my name's Jimmy Cage.
And I'm Deniz, the Buddymeister.
We have reviewed more than 500 Indian movies on the channel, and today's one was once again picked directly for us by one of our awesome Masala Meister tier supporters. Sujit PS has chosen the 1999 Indo-French Malayalam language psychological period drama Vanaprastham, or Vanaprastham, The Last Dance. It was directed and co-written by Shaji and Karun, after a story by Pierre Assolin, who also produced the movie with lead actor Mohanlal as a co-producer.
Yeah.
Right so far?
Yes.
Vanaprastham premiered at the 1999 Cannes Film Festival in the Uncertain Regards section, and it won several awards and is pretty universally regarded as one of the best films in Mohanlal's career. Buddymeister.
Yep.
What's the movie all about, and who's in it besides Mohanlal?
Well, besides Mohanlal, I only have two names written down.
Yeah.
Suhasini Maniratnam and Venmadi Haridas. The music was done... I'm talking about the music because I really like the music. It was composed by Zakir Hussain. So, the story.
Yeah.
Vanaprastham is the story of a Kathakali dancer who is rejected by his upper caste father and prevented from seeing his son.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's the story, and it's not based on, but it's referencing the Indian epic Mahabharata, because Kunjikutan plays Arjuna, who is the hero of that epic, I think.
Yeah.
And Suhasini is playing Subhadra, who's also the name of the heroine of that story, I think.
Yeah.
And it's also about their son. And it's for an outsider, this movie is not that easy to grasp, I think. Watching the movie wasn't easy. Maybe I should start with that. It's a film that's very steeped in Indian culture, from the traditional form of the classical Indian dance, Kathakali, that you already mentioned, to the references to the Indian epic Mahabharata, to the issues of caste. I mean, with the latter we are familiar, at least because we have watched quite a few Indian movies. At the same time, these are also the things that make the movie interesting or also fascinating, because it's something that's I don't know, that's a different culture. The movie gives us a glimpse into that, and that's also
you kind of feel the depth. You know that there's so much in it that you don't understand in many ways, but you know that there are a lot levels, and that leaves kind of an impact. Yeah,
definitely. But still, it's very challenging for an outsider. Now, on top of that, and maybe even more important, is the fact that the version we watched, it has subtitles that are pretty rough. I mean, sometimes they were like super cryptic. Sometimes the grammar was all over the place. Oftentimes, I barely understood what they were saying. And
we also had like this slight delay. Even if it was just like a microsecond, you always had like, is this the last sentence that they just said, or the next sentence, or sometimes, And
the problem is when you watch a foreign movie, and when you watch a movie that's kind of an art house drama, it's not really like a mainstream production. It's more like an artsy film. Then you are wondering how much of that cryptic nature is maybe the movie, and how much is maybe just the subtitles, and they are just talking normally and everything is pretty clear, and you are constantly wondering which is true
Yes,
here.
yes.
And so it was a bit difficult to watch this film. And so unfortunately, I have to say that I appreciated or respected the movie much more than I actually enjoyed it. I think it's a good movie, and there are a lot of things that are pretty great that we can talk about. But it was hard to fully enjoy it because there was like this constant barrier. There's this cultural barrier, there's the subtitle barrier, and it wasn't easy.
I pretty much had the same feelings. I mean, I really also appreciated it. I thought this was a good, even great movie at times, but it was also like this mystery box the whole time, where I thought, what is this movie about? I just didn't like understand the whole thing. So after I watched the movie, I looked it up and read the whole story, read some reviews of people writing about it, because it has that, it's like it's highly regarded in Indian cinema. And after it, I understood so many more things that I just didn't understand while watching the movie. Be it like the stuff from the myths, or be it like just some. I mean, the whole core of the story with I was rejected by my father, and now I don't get the chance to see my son. Of course, I got this from the movie. But this whole, I was sitting there watching the movie. Sometimes I didn't even get that, and I was asking myself, so what is this movie about? I was thinking, is it just about like a struggling performer? Is it just about the poverty of these like dancers who are so highly regarded in society as these artists, but don't really can live? And I think that's also a theme of this movie. So I understood something. I also understood, of course, that he's like this, that he has like these mental issues in a way that he's like, his father, he didn't get to know his father, and he says that, and he also says at one point that he's like an untouchable or something. That's in the subtitles. So there are like these bits and pieces that I gathered where I understood, okay, so it's about this, about that. I got a little bit of this and that, but the whole thing didn't like come together for me so that I like could identify myself with Kunji Kutan or understand the whole story. So in the end, the thing that like was in my mind was like more the art behind this movie, like how it looked, how the performance by Mohanlal and all, and I don't know. And this is what we talked about, that the fact that I just knew there's a lot more in this movie that I didn't understand. So
it's really unfortunate because the basic story is actually quite simple.
When I read it, I was thinking, really?
But we didn't really get into the movie because of the subtitles. And it's also a movie that takes its time. I mean, it's under 2 hours, which is great, and I think a reason for that is also because it's part of French production. But it takes a while until the main conflict between the lead character and Suhasini's character is really revealed. Because at first you think, what's going on between them? What's their relationship like? But then it gets clear that she's rejecting him. She's in love, or she adores the character he plays, which is a really interesting concept, a really interesting story. But it takes a while until we get there.
So I also don't want to like want to say that, maybe I just didn't understand everything, so the movie is a fantastic masterpiece, but I just didn't get it. Because if I think about the fact that like the core of the story kicks in like after 45 minutes or something, the movie, the way it's narrated, the way like this whole thing is put together, I mean, with some safe zone for me. But I have to say, like, it's also like a little bit of there's a certain kind of artificiality in the art, some kind of, it's a bit like too convoluted maybe, like, but it's
I don't know, for me,
because there are like jumps or ellipses in the movie where I thought I was just like grabbing a hold of the story. I just understood a little bit, but then it's like a jump 4 years or jump 5 years, and I also was like confused by the dates or by the
Yeah.
But it's
I mean, it's set in the
at
1950s.
At first, I thought this movie is playing like in 11:25 or something.
Yeah, but then there's a car.
There's a car and people. But
so it's set in the 1950s.
I was just confused.
And then for a second, I looked up Malayalam calendar.
Yeah.
But it was too. I closed it.
I don't know why.
And I'm not sure what's up with the
dates.
1100 something.
11:35, 11. I don't know.
I have
why.
no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe someone can comment.
Yes.
Yeah, but let's talk about the stuff that's. I mean, this is a movie. It's so much in there. It's really, really nice, but it never really grabbed me.
Yeah.
And I was never really emotionally involved. And maybe it's also not really my favorite kind of genre, like this tormented artist who's living for his craft.
Yeah,
but
we talked about that before. Yeah.
And there's no humor in the movie, which is fine. But maybe it's not really my kind of story. And then the art that we see is really fascinating, but we also have no connection to it. And we can appreciate it a little bit. And it really, the makeup, the costumes, that's all great. But there's only so much we can appreciate, and we don't really have a connection. But I think the period setting, the atmosphere, that's pretty dense.
Yes.
The cinematography, which was done by Renato Berta and Santosh Sivan, is pretty remarkable. It's a really nice looking film.
Yeah.
Beautiful costumes, beautiful makeup. The performance by Mohanlal is pretty wonderful. And also just that he doesn't have a beard makes it kind of different.
Yeah.
Because normally when we see Mohanlal, he always has a mustache and he looks
true.
different. And he's very restrained and he's very... He's great in the role.
Yeah, he just has a very fragile nature in this movie. So even the fact that he doesn't have a beard, that he's like naked.
Yeah, naked.
Nakedness
exactly.
gives him like this fragility that makes him like this. So he's like easily offended. Let's say like this. It's kind of nice, and also like this that there's the art of Kathakali is like he has to do so much with his eyes.
Yeah.
And his eyes are so much in the forefront in this movie. And I don't know, it's a really subtle performance, but there is so much, I don't know, there's a lot in it. And there's a little bit of humor in this movie when he's like has this silent conversation with Subhadra.
That's I think my favorite scene.
Yeah,
that's a great
mine
scene.
also. Yeah, where, I don't know if they're like
where she's on the stairs in her home, I think.
Genau.
And they are.
Yes,
that's my favorite scene. And I was smiling. Because that scene felt so alive.
Yeah, and so much chemistry between the two.
That was really, really great. Another thing that I think is noteworthy, the editing is really kind of playful at times, and it's not really comedic or something like that. But there are some cuts that are like really like almost fun. When, for example, when someone is throwing something at him, and then it cuts from the past to the present.
There's a small flashback into his childhood.
Or when he's taking a bath before his home, I think, and then he comes up from the water, and I think then he's in a big river. So there are like a handful of edits that I felt were really nicely done. The editing was done by A. Sulika Prasad and Joseph Gunvaj, and all the technical elements are really
absolutely
really good here.
Like you said about the atmosphere, it feels like so. I mean, from the beginning, because like the music I talked about at the beginning by Zakir Hussain has like this. It has such a mystical element, which also feels like this movie because it has like this. It's like you're diving into this mythic story, this fairy tale or something, and. Yeah, that felt really nice. I mean, even if I didn't understand, everything.
Yeah, it was confusing.
Has like this, but it has like this. I can't really describe it, but the atmosphere, I really really liked it, and that's also something that stuck with me. Just stuck with me. So I thought, I can't forget this movie, even if it wasn't like the best movie I've ever seen.
I mean, just the makeup alone, and that we are not familiar with this art style, with this dance form.
It almost had like this meditative experience. Like you're watching what is happening there, because like we don't. I mean, I have seen the costumes before, but this is not something that's like Kathakali. No idea. I've never seen it. Yeah. Did you know that Katha means story and Kali means performance?
Nice. No, I didn't know
Something, some trivia
that. In between trivia.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tragic tale. It's
For us, because we didn't understand
for us
everything?
and for Mohanlal's character, of course. It's
Yeah.
a really sad film. And maybe for me, almost a little bit too tragic, so that I was kind of disconnected.
Yeah.
Because he's in an arranged marriage and he's unhappy at home.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's something that you get from this movie, because like this
that you
unhappiness at
understand
home is
immediately.
pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But even when I looked the story up and finally understood what it was about and all this stuff, I thought back on the movie and thought, and there could have been more elements in there that maybe it's just a personal thing, but maybe more elements in there that really made me feel for Kunji Kutan. I mean, I of course understood that he's a tragic character and that he's not happy, but yeah, in the end, I still had the feeling that I don't really know him. Yeah. You know, I don't really understand the whole tragedy behind his life. Yeah. But that's just me.
And also, his wife is also a tragic figure.
Yeah.
The movie doesn't really pay much attention to her, but he's also unfaithful. And it's brushed aside. They really don't talk about it.
It's only about the tragic artist.
Yeah. And maybe it's more common or accepted because it's an arranged marriage, a loveless marriage, and maybe it's okay.
Yeah.
If I don't know, but it was never really addressed in the film.
There's like this nice scene where he's acting in front of the king the first time, and he tells him that everybody in his I don't know, in his city or in all the artists are like poor.
Yeah.
And then the day after or so they get money, but he doesn't tell anybody that is like to his credit, I think. And they just say, somebody was there, and then they get their money. I thought it was like kind of a nice nuanced scene where we like see that he's a nice guy somehow, and he just doesn't want to brag about it. It's kind of a nice scene,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But also the stuff with the father, that was a little bit confusing because at one point another artist was sick.
Yeah.
And he was like performing the last rites or something, and I wasn't sure if he's doing it now for his father, is he doing it for his partner. I was like confused. Is his father dead already? And then he was back at home, and there's a father.
That was a mix of the poor subtitles and the editing that kind of threw me off, because when he talks about his father who like had, I don't know, a lot of kids everywhere, I think he says at one point, we get like a cut to a guy lying down who's sick, and that's because I also thought later, that guy, is that his father or isn't it? I just didn't understand. So
yeah, we are too stupid for this one. Anything else you want to mention? No. So what would you say?
Let's get out of here.
Oh, okay. What would you say? But we have to say, at least finally we watched this. This was on our watch list for ages because, it's praised as one of Mohanlal's best movies, one of his best performances. And, we were so happy when we found it with English subtitles. We had no idea that the subtitles were this bad. So
yeah, but to be honest, Mohanlal's performance is one of the things that really stuck with me. And when I think of when people will ask me, what's your favorite performance of Mohanlal? This is Lucifer. Yeah, this is pretty certainly something that comes up.
Yeah. Okay.
So, in German I would say, Vanaprastham hat mich irgendwie beeindruckt, aber irgendwie doch auch nicht so richtig in seinen Bann ziehen können. Der Film ist wunderschön anzusehen und vor allem Mohanlal ist ganz großartig, aber hin und wieder war mir die Erzählung dann doch etwas zu künstlerisch verklausuliert.
Okay. Nice.
That's German.
That's German for you. Vanaprastham ist ein kunstvoll inszeniertes Drama mit super starkem Mohanlal in der Hauptrolle. Again, Vanaprastham ist ein kunstvoll inszeniertes Drama mit einem super starken Mohanlal in der Hauptrolle. Punkt. Leider hat mich die Geschichte aber trotzdem nie so ganz gepackt, woran aber sicherlich auch die wirklich dürftigen Untertitel eine Mitschuld tragen.
Yes.
Yeah. Still, I give Vanaprastham 7 out of 10. It's more like 6.8, but I don't do that.
For me, it's also a 7 out of 10. It's more like 7.1. but I don't do that either.
Fine. Maybe it's not really fair to the movie, but that was our experience with it. And yeah, maybe someday there will be a better version. I have no idea.
Maybe we should call this channel Our Stupid Reviews.
I thought about it in the past.
Okay, so Jimmy.
Yeah.
As you probably already knew, or could have guessed, Kathakali was an art form performed primarily by men.
Yeah.
But did you know that there were a few women who didn't put up with this? And one of them was Chavara Parukutti. She wanted to become a Kathakali dancer. She had her first performance at the age of 14, and against all obstacles she fought her way through, played female and male roles, and became an ever-inspiring and triumphant figure in the field of Kathakali.
Didn't know that. Nice.
Good.
You can find us, follow us, and support us on patreon.com/TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like.
And if you want to get notifications, click the bell.